everyone, and welcome back. My name is Melanie if you're new to my channel, and I post fashion, lifestyle, travel, beauty, all sorts of different types of videos, and I also run a fashion and lifestyle blog over on MissMelanieMay.com that I always have linked down below. I'm going to try to keep this intro pretty short because I have a feeling this video is going to be pretty long. And in today's video, I am going to be sharing kind of like an overview of my first experience on a cruise. I took my first cruise right before Christmas a few weeks ago, and I had a lot of questions, not really sure exactly what to expect. So I thought this would be a helpful video if you've never been on a cruise and you're planning one. I'm going to go over all the different topics that I had and questions that I had. And if there's specific topics that you're looking for, I'm going to post like what time I start talking about them in the description bar below. And then I'm also going to be posting a blog post, which I'll link down below, and that's just going to share pictures. So in the blog post, I'm just going to have pictures of the trip and like kind of more of a fun type post, and then this is going to be very informative. So I'm literally just going to be talking to you about all different topics and that sort of thing. And this is going to be a two-part series. So the second part, I'm going to talk about what to pack, what I packed, and what I wish I would have packed, and maybe things I didn't necessarily need. So that's going to be coming later, but today's video is, like I said, just going to be all about the cruise. And the last thing I want to mention is I just took some notes because I had a lot on my brain. So if you see me looking down at all, that's just because I want to make sure that I'm covering everything. We went with Royal Caribbean, was the cruise line that we went with. We booked it like last spring. So the cruise that we took, we went right before Christmas. I don't know the exact dates. It was like December 17th to like the 23rd or something like that. So it was right before Christmas. It was a 4-night cruise to the Bahamas, and then there was supposed to be a stop in Coco Cay, which we didn't end up going to because of weather, so I'll get into that later. But it was supposed to be, we left on a Monday at 4 p.m. and then we were cruising all day Tuesday. Wednesday, we got to Nassau, Bahamas in the morning. We were supposed to spend all day in Nassau and then leave to go to Coco Cay Wednesday night, wake up in Coco Cay on Thursday morning, have all day Thursday in Coco Cay, leave Coco Cay at night, and then be back on Friday in the morning. Because of weather, we scratched Coco Cay, so we ended up just having another day at sea. The port that we left from was Port Canaveral in Florida, little bit from Orlando. And then the ship that we went on was the Enchantment of the Seas. So this was an older ship, but it ended up being really nice, and it was even nicer than I expected. Royal Caribbean, we kind of just chose that because the other common one that leaves out of Port Canaveral is Disney Cruises, but they're like triple, sometimes double the price, especially before Christmas. And while we definitely were interested, this being our first cruise for everyone that went, we didn't necessarily want to spend thousands of dollars if it was something we really didn't totally enjoy. And Royal Caribbean is a known cruise line. Another like I said, none of us on this trip had ever been on a cruise before, and I really enjoyed it. I thought there was tons to do. Like everyone always says, you don't go bored, which is totally true. You know, you can be by the pool all day and do absolutely nothing, or you can have like a whole thing of like a whole list of things you want to do. Royal Caribbean had an app with the daily schedule, so we kind of followed that. There was always things to do at night. There was shows in the theater. There was poolside movies. There was bingo. There was game shows. There was karaoke. There was like clubs if you wanted to do that. There was so much to do. There's a spa. There's a gym. There's plenty to do. And personally, I think this is a great trip if you are a family, like a large family like we were. We had, you know, different generations, different age groups. It's great. A, because everyone's in one place. B, no one has to cook meals. No one has to have their house clean to, you know, accommodate everyone. Everyone can go at their own pace. You know, if some people want to lay by the pool, they can. If some people want to be busy all day, they can. And then you can all meet back up for dinner, or you can plan specific things evenings together, but everyone has their own room. You know, you all can get together for dinner, and I just think it's a really great way to get like a large group of people together, which I noticed there was a lot of large families that were on these cruises. You know, like grandparents on both sides and cousins and aunts and uncles. Like, we didn't have that many people, but I could see how it would be really, really a nice vacation for a big family. So that was like my main things that I really enjoyed. I also think it's really cool that you get to go to different stops. Obviously ours was kind of just the one stop, and it wasn't like the port or the stops weren't like the main thing of the cruise because it was a short cruise. But I definitely think if we did a longer cruise, the stops would be really like a main highlight of the cruise ship. I did like the days at port. They were very relaxing. You know, like I said, there was lots to do. The food was amazing. Tons of food, great service. And I would definitely do it again. I think it would be really fun to, like, you know, kind of research different cruise lines and different ships, because I really don't have much knowledge about that. I know like Royal Caribbean just came out with a new cruise ship. Obviously Disney would be amazing. So I think it would be really cool to do other ones as well. And I would say the last part that I really enjoyed was just how relaxing it was. You know, you're out at sea, you can do, you know, whatever. You can be as busy or as not busy as you want to be, and just disconnecting. Like, you had to pay for internet, so, which I'm going to talk about later, but you know, you weren't on your phone 24/7, and it was just like a really nice way to like disconnect from everything and just relax, and I really liked it. Weather-wise, weather was pretty much good. We did have some rockiness on the last night, and I could see how the weather could ruin it, but you know, you kind of take that risk when you book a cruise with you not knowing what the weather is. You know, we had to change the ports. That's always something that you don't know that could happen. So that's kind of my overall thoughts, but in general, I really would like it. It might not be for everyone, but I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely do it again. And there's definitely a learning curve to it, I will say that. Like, after doing my first one, I feel like I know more. I was so clueless when we first went, and I tried to do research and I tried to watch videos, but until you really experience it, it's hard to fully understand it. Like, it's amazing how big the ship really is. So we checked in online before. We got an email like a week before. You could fill out all the information, and we did that, and I highly recommend doing that. When we got there, we didn't have to really wait in any lines. They just kind of checked us in, took a picture of our passport, and that was that. But I highly would recommend doing it because it saves a ton of time day of. So that's the first thing. Transportation, like I said, my grandparents live not too far from Port Canaveral, so we stayed with them, and we drove. So we flew to Florida, stayed with them, and then we all drove to the port. Driving to the port was fine. Once we got to the area, it was a bit confusing knowing where we were going, but with the help of someone that was kind of giving directions, we were able to find it. We parked in a parking ramp. You know, you could also take an Uber, a taxi. I will say that I would not recommend flying in and going to board the cruise with all in one day. You know, God forbid something happens with your flight or you get lost, you have no way of getting on the cruise ship. You lost all that money. They're not going to wait for you. Some people might be okay with that, but personally, I would have so much anxiety, you know, worrying that I wouldn't make it to the cruise ship. So that's one thing. And another thing was passports. We all got passports. Obviously, we were going to just the Bahamas. I don't think a passport was necessarily fully required. You could have used a birth certificate and I think like a driver's license. I'm not even 100% sure on that. But as far as I know, passport wasn't fully required, but we got one just to be safe. And to be honest, I would recommend that. Obviously, depending on where you're going, you would need a passport. For where we were going, I don't think it was fully required, but just to be on the safe side, I think it's a good, especially when you get off the cruise ship. Last two things. So luggage, we did put the luggage, you print out a luggage tag. You don't have to do this, but we had quite a bit of luggage, so we put the tag on the luggage. They take it when you first get to the like check-in area, and then they take it and then you don't see it until later that night. So with that being said, if you don't have the luggage with you, you'll want to make sure you have a bag of items that you need for the day, because we got on the cruise ship, so we were given a time slot between, I think it was like 11:30 and 12:30 or something like that, and then the cruise didn't leave until 4, and I don't think we got our luggage until probably like 5:30ish, 6ish, maybe earlier than that. But you want to make sure you have everything like for you with you that you would need for that first day. So like any important medications, if you wanted to go swimming that first day, you want to make sure you have a swimsuit, and just like a small bag. Now I brought a beach bag, so that beach bag was what I kind of used to carry everything once we got onto the cruise, and then like my rolling luggage is what I had them take, and then they bring the luggage right to your door, and yeah, it was pretty seamless. I would recommend doing that though, because it's kind of a lot to like lug around and everything. And then as far as like getting off the ship, they take your luggage the night before, which was totally fine. We just left it out in the hallway, and they grabbed it, and then when we were leaving the morning of, you got a specific time that you were asked to leave the cruise ship from, and your luggage was waiting before you went through Border Patrol. So it was super easy. I recommend just taking your luggage and giving it to them. It makes it easier. We had was a room with a window, and then there's rooms without windows, and then there's rooms with balconies. We had a room with a window, and my grandparents had a room with a balcony. The balcony is nice. Depending on how long you're going to be in the room though, it might not be needed. I definitely liked having the window. Obviously you pay more depending on that. The cheapest rooms are going to be within the middle of the ship with no windows and no balconies. I don't know if I'd feel totally comfortable without at least a window, but I guess it's all just preference. But the balconies are nice. Like I said, it kind of just depends on how much, you're going to be in your room, but the balconies are a nice addition. I guess this is all based on the Royal Caribbean cruise we went on. I actually don't really know enough to know if all cruise ships work this way, but I'm assuming they're pretty similar. The first thing is the drink package. I did not purchase a drink package. It was like $30 a day, and for me personally, I don't drink that much outside of just like water. They did have coffee, juice, that was included without buying the drink package. The drink package was for alcohol and then soda. But I actually found that I didn't really need it. I bought a few drinks just like with my own credit card, and it wasn't that expensive. Drinks for like, $8 to $10, which is what I was expecting. I would say the drink package is if you really are expecting to drink like 4 to 5 drinks a day. So that was the drink portion of it. The food portion of it, they had a buffet that was pretty much open 24/7 for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then they had some dining rooms that you had to pay for additionally on top of what we'd already paid. So the price you pay for a cruise includes food, but then you can like upgrade to like fancier restaurants. We didn't do that, but you do get like a formal dining room that you can go to, but that was pre-assigned ahead of time. We had a select 6 p.m. dinner time or 8:30 p.m. dinner time. We selected the 6 p.m. dinner time, which I think worked great, and then we were assigned a specific table, and we had the same server throughout the whole week. Now, had we have not selected that formal dining room, we would have been eating at the buffet. The buffet was okay, but it really wasn't great, and I think we would have gotten really sick of it. The sit-down dinner was extremely nice, great service, just great all around, so I would recommend doing that if you have the opportunity. I think it's really worth the money, and it wasn't any extra because we were paying for the food anyways, but I just think that it made the experience that much better. For breakfast, that same dining room had a breakfast, but the breakfast wasn't assigned seating, so it was just first come, first serve, but we never had issues getting a table. They also had the breakfast in the buffet, but we really didn't use the buffet other than for lunch when we were at the pool. It was just quick and easy. They did have the lunch option at the dining room, but we didn't do that at all. And so yeah, they had lots of food, never lack of food. There was ice cream like almost all the time. Like I said, there was tons for breakfast, tons for dinner. The dinner was sit down, so it was served to you. You ordered an appetizer, entree, dessert, and they changed up the menu every night, and it was just great. I would say that was honestly like the highlight. I'm like big into food, and the food was really good, but the service was just amazing. Like, I'm talking like country club level. Like, they know your name. They know what you ordered the night before, drink wise, like everything. And that's really what made the dining experience so great. Another thing I'm going to mention is allergies. I was kind of unsure on that. If you have an allergy, you let them know ahead of time through the online system. Obviously, I'm gluten-free and tree nut-free, and then I have try to avoid like a ton of dairy. So that was something I wasn't sure about, but they were super accommodating of that. I had no complaints on that. They were so accommodating, no issues. Basically anything on the menu, they were like, we can make it gluten-free. It was great. There was also like other dining facilities. There was a small cafe where you could get coffee and ice cream, but like I said, food was not an issue at all, and I definitely recommend doing the sit-down dinner. It just really made for a great experience. So with the sit-down dinner, you were expected to, there was sort of a dress code. There was one formal night, so that meant no shorts and no like open-toe sandals or like flip-flops. So I brought like a Lily Pulitzer dress. It was fine. And everyone else kind of wore, like the guys wore khakis in our group, and it was fine. We could have gone really dressed up. It was definitely a mix. Some people were more on our level and some people were extremely dressed up. But as long as you just brought something that was a little nicer, you were totally fine. Like I said, this might vary from cruise to cruise, but that's what ours was. And then the rest of the nights were just casual. So same thing. Some people literally came in shorts and a polo t-shirt, and some people had on dresses. I like to dress up, so I wore like a beach dress every night, and then the formal night I wore a fancier dress. But it's definitely like anything goes, like any restaurant nowadays. It's not like it's super, super particular or specific towards one thing. So when we were in the Bahamas, we booked one excursion. We had booked it ahead of time online, and that was, we did snorkeling. I would definitely recommend booking it online ahead of time just to make sure that you have an open spot, and I also think you save money that way because they had a lot of deals and discounts before. It was really nice. You don't have to have an excursion to get off the ship. That's what we were unsure about. You don't have to, but depending on where you're going, I think it's a really nice addition, and I think that it makes it easier. Like, had we have gone to the Bahamas and not had that snorkeling booked, I don't know how we would have figured out like where we were going, what company to go with, what's reliable, you know, all that stuff. It was easy. You were in a group, you got off the ship, you waited in a spot, and they took you. And it was a ton of fun. I think it was well worth the price, and I think honestly it was a pretty great deal. So I'd recommend. Seasickness, we only had some like rough seas the last night for dinner. I would recommend bringing Dramamine or like motion sickness pills, but to be honest, I really never felt the ship moving other than that last night at dinner. I could see how if it got really rocky, it could ruin your trip and you could get really seasick, but ours was not that bad. And I think that, you know, if you just bring medicine and take it if you think you'll need it, I think you'd be okay. Obviously, I can't speak for everyone, but in general, it really wasn't like you could even see it moving. The only time you could really see it moving is when we were leaving the port, because you had the like shore in the distance, but once you were in the open sea, you really couldn't tell. Sometimes in the room a little bit at night, but nothing crazy. The internet, so we did purchase one internet for our room, just like one package or whatever, so only one person could be on it at a time, but different people could be on it. I don't think we need more than one to be on it, honestly, because it was kind of nice not to be on my phone all the time, and it wasn't that expensive, but it was kind of nice to be able to check messages and stuff at night. So I would recommend it, but I don't think not necessarily everyone needs to purchase it. It's just kind of up to you, but if you know you want to, you could. But if you don't purchase the internet through the cruise ship, then you are without internet. That is, you don't have service. Okay, so that was everything. I hope you enjoyed this video and it was informative. If you have any additional questions, leave those in the comments below. Like I mentioned, I'm going to be doing a second part to this video, kind of sharing with you what I packed, what I wish I would have packed. And like I said, if you have any questions, leave those in the comments, and have a great day. Bye.